trying to keep it together. Yeah, I worry about love and the future. And like where that's gonna come from, you know, and there's this whole idea of like, well, child, just wait, you know, just wait and see, it's gonna come. Okay, I'm gonna wait. I might be a little worried, but I'm gonna wait. My name is L.A. Williams, and I am a theater director, a developer of new work, Harlem-based, and I also am a speech and theater professor. Birthplace, I was born in Cleveland, Ohio, Midwest, and at the age of 2, my mother, who was very young when she had me, moved us to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we lived until I was about 13. My 2 youngest brothers were born there. And at 13, my grandmother at the time was living in Montgomery, Alabama, and she unfortunately had a heart attack one summer, and so we went down to be there for her that summer and ended up staying. I graduated from Alabama State University and then went to graduate school to Emerson College, which is in Boston, Massachusetts. My upbringing in childhood was very interesting. Being the oldest, what I'm coming to learn is that a lot of my upbringing has obviously shaped me into who I am today. I remember playing school. I remember playing school a lot with not only my siblings, but all my cousins. Every child who came over was gonna be in my classroom. And if you didn't listen, you would get a whooping. Yeah, it was an interesting time. I had a very, I think, noisy childhood. But when I think back nowadays, I'm able to see that it really has taught me a lot about dealing with conflict, sensing tension in the air, and really getting through what sometimes I believe is crisis, getting through crisis with just a little bit less fear. So I think, yeah, there were some really rough patches growing up, but it all makes sense now. So yeah, I found directing haphazardly. I was just in college, and I went in to be like a doctor, and then I was like, ooh, I want to be a child psychologist, and then ooh, I want to be a teacher. And I was walking through the halls one day of this performing arts building at Alabama State University and saw that there were auditions for the Dramatic Guild, and I ended up auditioning and I started stage managing. And I had 3 lines in a musical called Black Nativity, which were terrible, child. I was just like, look at the sweet babe. Oh, look, it's just bad, right? And then I started to stage manage, and I was like, oh, I'm a stage manager. And then my junior year in college, we had a production of Othello happen, and I got cast, and I was Roderigo, and I actually won like a Best Supporting Actor award. And so, honey, I thought I was like, you know, Jessica Lange for like 2 days. Like, I just walked around like it was too much, it was bad. And you could not tell me anything. Like, I practiced my speech, it was real. And so anyway, that's how I sort of got into directing, and I feel like, and that's really where it all came from. It was that moment where I was like, oh my God, like, wait, you mean to tell me that I can get the best out of people? Oh, no, we gotta keep doing this. But at the same time, I knew then, and I thank God for this clarity, I knew then that I was still meant to teach. And so I found a graduate. I at the time was kind of forced to audition for acting programs, which I knew wouldn't work. I just knew that I wasn't gonna be happy with that. But then I found a graduate program that allowed me to direct and learn about teaching and theater education. But I think it goes deeper than that, right? It's really just like my need to be in control. Let's talk about the truth. Like, people lie, don't be fake. Like, just tell the truth. You just like to be in control, and that's why you want to be a director. That's just the bottom line. So I think, you know, my need to organize and just pull things out of people. Like, I'm very interested in like the stripped down version of everything. Like, girl, like, who are you really? Like, that's what I want to know. Like, that's cute, I like it, but who are you really? And so I think when I think about my work specifically as a director, it's like, how do you get the truth out of people? I feel like one of the greatest spaces a young artist like myself can be in is a space that's like super open and like sort of just, you know, in the discovery mode, just waiting to kind of see what happens. I think there are always things that I want to make happen and that I want to happen, to see happen. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things that I'm excited about, particularly my work, not only as a new play director and developer of new work, deviser of new work, but I'm most excited about this new thing that I've recently found, which is like this idea that I can be a champion for new voices, a champion for emerging voices, be them director voices or writer voices or dancer voices, like, you know. So I'm really sort of cultivating right now this idea that I can be sort of like one of my biggest directing idol, who is Lloyd Richards, you know, in the way that he was a director and an educator, but also a cultivator of voices and someone who really put people out who he felt needed to be heard. What community looks like to me is teamwork. And so like the ability to come together despite the fact that we're all different and want different things and see things differently. You know, I think just teamwork is what I think of when I think of community. I don't know that I have like a really like super fancy like, you know, theological or theoretical definition of community. I just know that for me, community really looks and feels like people working together, even if it's like two people on a shift at a grocery store and one is like closing down the register and the other is mopping the floor. That's community. That's teamwork. Those are people coming together to make something happen.